All right, just a quick response video to Pyro, regarding his contention in one of his videos about human nature and the fact that he doesn't think it's kind of fixed. He thinks it's evolving. And so I just didn't, that was sort of an irritating comment. Our nature is not evolving significantly. Our brain was built 70,000 years ago. We weren't doing much with it 70,000 years ago. We're doing more with it now. That makes it certainly look like a different animal. I mean, we certainly behave differently. We wear clothes. We have some kind of nuances and sophistications and peculiarities of our more developed psychology, in terms of the fact that we're full of a capacity to be very diverse from each other because of the incredibly full and rich, nuance-rich world we've created around us. I mean, it's all kinds of niches, new niches for the human mind and the human person to live in now. And in the past, we were kind of stuck in a kind of a boring world. Not boring in the dull, I have nothing to do sense, but uncreative, unimaginative, kind of stale world of work, and struggle just to survive. No great understanding of the fact that there's all kinds of things to be discovered in the world. Well, anyway, no discoveries made anyway, except little stupid ones like pointy stick, good for jabbing, Anyway, so naturally, our nature hasn't changed really, not much. We're still that animal we were 70,000 years ago, largely. I mean, there might be subtle changes. Our disposition might be a little less aggressive. I don't know. Could be possible. Our natural disposition. But basically our drives are the same, food and sex, and we're still jealous, and we still have familial attachments, and we have the same native conditioning. The native programming is probably pretty similar, probably almost identical actually, but I won't go that far. But it's very little change. And if you look at our modern culture, I mean, this elegant intelligence thing doesn't have a genetic component. You're not born. It doesn't transfer what you know and who you are and what character you've developed. It doesn't transfer with your chromosomes in any significant way. And the people who are breeding are usually the fuckatards. So the human race, and when you look at the selecting factors now, just because of the economies we've created and the world's composition, it's the almost the dregs, by our elitist standard. I mean, the people with towels wrapped in their heads and bones in their noses and really bad ideas crammed through their brains are the ones doing the breeding and the reproducing. People who are, generally speaking, very good sheeple. The sheeple are breeding. The people who have clung themselves to mass culture concepts and ideas are the ones who are breeding. So these aberrants, these people who do go off on their own intellectually and are free themselves anyway from as much of the oppression of groupthink as possible. They're just a little minority of the population, and they're the aberrants. They're the little black sheep that do pop out of the white sheeple every now and then and grow into something a little more sophisticated than a sheep. But the nature is still there. We see what the human race is doing. It's not evolving. I mean, if anything, we're becoming a bit physically weaker, probably overall. I mean, it's a hard balance, because obviously the people in Africa are probably becoming physically stronger, because there's so many forces trying to kill them that they have to overcome. So they're still in a struggle just for survival. So physically they're probably becoming stronger because they're not getting the medical care and all the other things that would keep the weak alive, physically weak. But in other cultures, clearly, we do keep the weak alive. We're physically becoming weaker. We're probably mentally becoming a little bit weaker, more susceptible to the groupthink, more susceptible marching in sequence with the machine, the social machine, the national machine, the identity machine, because those are the people, as I said, those are the people statistically who are doing all the breeding. So don't think there's some kind of magic that we're evolving. The structure of our brains are evolving into something better. They're not evolving into something better. They're as I've said before, we've hit the 1984 wall, and we're evolving into the more perfect organism to live in that shit. That's how our nature's evolving anyway. And the only thing that gives us any hope of escape is the fact that we can educate ourselves out of being a sheep. We can educate ourselves. Well, we can be educated to escape that narrow, blind, stupid, idiotic nature that we're being born with. We can think still have that capacity, fortunately, and so we can escape that doom. But nature's not going to help us here. The only thing that's going to get us out of this mess, the only thing that's going to turn us into something better, is these ideas have to be spoken so much that even the really dumb sheep can figure it out. I mean, the ideas have to become so loud they can't escape it, and they have to be forced to climb off of their four little hooves and become something better. So anyway, that's my take on it. But I think it's, like I said, I think it's bullshit to think that we're evolving physically into something better. It ain't happening.